Hey everybody, welcome to the 112th episode of Fireside Chats. My name is Joe Hardin and I am guest hosting today with my friend Aum Gandhi, subbing in for Jason while he is out. Today we have a special guest, Danny Contreras, who we will chat with. We're going to chat with Danny today about running, building his running community, the Sonoma Valley Runners, his sobriety journey, and obviously keeping with fireside chat traditions, we're going to have some rapid fire food questions, and I threw in a few questions of my own to add a little flair. And without further ado, let's bring Danny on board. Hey Danny,
guys,
how's it going?
how's it going? Good. How are you guys?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good. Nice to meet you finally, Joe.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. So nice to meet you, Danny. I just want to start kind of the big question, I guess, as who's Danny? Who's Danny Contreras? We can't really put people in a box, so let's hear all about you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm born and raised in Sonoma. It's a small town here in Northern California. And yeah, just being born in such a small town, everyone's very tight knit, close community. I grew up playing sports. I was very athletic. I played soccer, basketball, and tennis. And so like now my I kind of stopped my athletic journey and started running, and then really dove into running when I started my sobriety journey. So I'm just blessed with the community that I've built here in Sonoma, and then just being surrounded with like-minded people like you guys.
Man, that's super cool to hear, and I love that. Like, I think that community is such a big part of this, and I think that for me, like when I got on my sobriety journey, finding that community was a big thing. Um, I do want to hear more about the community aspect and everything, but um, I also have I also forgot because Joe's leading the chat this time that we have an icebreaker question for you. Um, I'm sure you've heard this one before. Joe's heard this a million times. He's probably sick of it. But this will determine whether Joe keeps leading the chat or I'm leading the chat. But are you ready for the question?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
I'm gonna go with yay, but you have to add jalapenos.
Dude, jalapeno pineapple is fire. Joe, what do you think about jalapeno pineapple, Joe? Oh my God, we lost Joe.
I guess it's a no-go for him.
Dude, let me tell you something. The fireside chat is not the fireside chat unless somebody's having technical issues.
Gotcha. I just thought I wasn't a fan of pineapple on pizza.
It could have been that too. Like maybe he's just so sick of hearing about it that he's just like gonna step out. But so what happened with so Joe, we were just joking that you're so sick of hearing the pineapple on pizza question that you just
Well, sorry about that. My internet picked a heck of a time so what was the answer?
Yeah, what was the answer?
I said yes, pineapple on pizza, but you have to add jalapenos.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. Man, jalapeno is like a forgotten gem on a pizza.
Right.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. What do you guys think about? I don't want to turn this into a food conversation. I want to step back into this, but really quickly, what do you guys think about hot honey on pizza?
I've never tried it actually. I've heard of hot honey on chicken.
Really?
Like fried chicken.
Me neither. Yeah, that sounds kind of amazing.
Well, I want to turn the conversation before we went totally sideways and Joe professed to me how much he hates the pineapple. Jumping on the conversation. So tell me, you mentioned like the community you built with Sonoma Valley Runners. We've had the pleasure on Run Try Bike of telling your story, both your story and the story of Sonoma Valley Runners. So talk about the Sonoma Valley Runners and the community that you've built in running.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It all started because of my sobriety. I just went on a whim and decided that I wanted to start a run club in the heart of Sonoma. I was having to commute about 30 to 45 minutes just to go run with other run clubs. And it just seemed like, well, why can't I do this within my community and build something just as beautiful, but with a bigger purpose, right? There's more meaning behind me starting Sonoma Valley Runners. And to me, the true essence of just being in sobriety and sharing my journey with like, without any filters, just being open about my journey to everyone, it just makes it that much more of a warmer space for newcomers or people that are struggling or just want to join the running community as a whole. They just kind of, it's more accepting in a way, and I just feel like one of the things that we always do is we always go out for coffee after our Sunday morning runs, or if it's an evening run we go out for a bite. But it's kind of, it builds that community, that fellowship outside of just running, because I didn't want it to be, most run clubs, it kind of even becomes a bit of a chore, like, oh, I have run club tonight. So I wanted to like take that away and create the community aspect where people are building friendships, long-term friendships, even outside of running. Like, I know a few of my runners get together and, go for paint nights or go on a hike. And so it's beautiful to see and from my point of view, because I'm kind of the outsider that molded all these friendships. So it's a beautiful sight for sure.
So Danny, as we mentioned before, I think three of us here are sober runners. So tell us a little about your sobriety journey and how running and all that kind of all dovetails together.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Well, going into sobriety, as you guys may know, you kind of start letting go of old friendships. And so I just found myself, I started running just for my own personal goals. I still continue to work with the run coach at the moment. So I have my goals outside of my run club that I don't want to lose sight of, because one thing with sobriety is, for me at least, what works is that I always have to have a set goal, right? Something that I'm working towards for me to achieve. And so it's just, one of those things that I continue to like kind of latch onto is my running journey for me as a whole. But like I said, you start letting go of friends. And so it became a very lonely process. And, I went through a time where I was going through very negative self-talk, kind of depressing point in my life. And I just wanted a turning point. I felt like if this was it, it wasn't enough. And I wanted to connect with like-minded people. And so quickly I found that I could find people like that in the running community. And it was the one place that I never felt ashamed to say that I was struggling or I had struggled with alcohol and other substances. If anything, people were always very encouraging, always very accepting. So I just wanted to, put a twist on it, create my run club, and then have, that be my purpose, my drive to connect people. I know me being, I feel like I'm still pretty young. I just turned 30, but like we're all pretty young here. And then just being a young, sober, you know, person out in society where alcohol is so socially accepted, is it can be kind of frightening, right? Like you just let go of all things that have to do with that associate with alcohol or partying. So you kind of just isolate yourself a little bit. And I just felt like I didn't want to do that to myself. I still wanted to be able to enjoy life, but do it on my terms. And thanks to my sobriety, now I'm able to set, boundaries, clear boundaries with people, and no one's there to like question them. If anything, people are receptive to it and respectful, and it's been good.
You know, it's interesting hearing people talk about their sobriety journeys, and I just turned 32 actually in February, so we're same age.
Yeah, nice.
The Joe's like, you young guns.
I feel like a dinosaur.
So like, it's interesting you mentioned like losing friends and like circles and all that. Like when I first got on my sobriety journey, I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere anymore. Like it felt like a lonely pursuit of doing a thing that I felt I wasn't telling anybody else that I was doing this, like I wasn't telling anybody else this is the right way to do things. I was doing the right thing that was the best for me to be the best version of myself, but I still felt ashamed to be to be sober, because it felt like it's so socially accepted.
Right.
So it's just interesting, like hearing your perspective on that and how you kind of, instead of like you knew it was a lonely pursuit, so you found running and you created that community because you knew you didn't want life to be that way. And it's really cool seeing how you like took the action and make that change. Like like let me ask you this, like I'm going to turn it over to Joe here. Like what was your first year of sobriety like?
Mine was pretty touch and go. Same with a lot of people. I kind of kept it to myself at first, and then I just realized I kind of had this thought, and I've heard it said before, like own your story or it owns you. And I just decided, like, man, like I'm like, if I hold on to this, I'm not going to have any growth here. So same kind of like what Danny said. I found a community where I felt accepted, and I could be very. I mean, I'm sometimes brutally open about my sobriety and my struggles, and it's freeing in a lot of ways, and then it also helps you grow in a lot of ways, and you learn who you can be around and trust too when you're open about that kind of stuff, because you find like your tribe or whatever when you find the people you can actually confide in with stuff like that. Hopefully that answered the question. But first year was rough, right? I mean, it always is.
Yeah, was your first year pretty? It's not like your first year must have had a lot of ups and downs too, Danny.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I guess that's kind of where I was going with the story about Sonoma Valley Runners too. Is I tried going in the rooms. AA kind of wasn't my thing. I did seek out help with the sponsor. He's still a really good friend of mine, but it just it wasn't my thing. I don't know if it's because I'm young and I just feel like I go in the rooms and I can't connect with anyone. It took me a very, very hard time to even go in and hear someone's story that I could relate to. So I did try going down that route of going to fellowship and, going to AA meetings, but it wasn't quite working out for me. And I almost felt like I was alienating myself a lot more from society and, people like us that we're normal. We just happen to have, an addiction to certain substances, and we want better control for ourselves and for our life. And honestly, I feel like diving into running, you set such a great example of like the great human that we all are, right? Like it kind of turns our life around entirely. So the first year was definitely challenging. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of questioning myself whether I'm doing the right thing or not. And that all stemmed from maybe feeling a little bit alienated and alone. But sooner than later, I found my people. Like Joe was saying, you find your tribe, and you have your people in your corner. They're always going to be rooting for you. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, I totally align with you, Danny, on that one. I was kind of looking at your Instagram too, and I saw where, like, you kind of like what you said, AA wasn't really your thing. Like I went through the same stuff, like I was trying to like force my way, kind of. I mean, like I did the steps and all that stuff, and that worked at first, but I couldn't like force my way into it anymore, like make myself fit, and like finding like a running community, and that was really beneficial in my continued sobriety, because I just didn't feel like I really belonged really. And yeah, so I totally align with how you, like what you're saying here. Makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely I could never do the traditional stuff either. I just really just started keeping to myself and just felt so isolated. And around the time that I became sober, like 3 years ago, it was like the height of pandemic and everything like that still. So the isolation was already there, and I was starting to ultra run. So I think there was a lot of metamorphosis there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting hearing people who don't take the traditional route and they find community that way. And we've had plenty of stories like that. where those people do find community in endurance sports and running, and that's really cool. I want to shift the conversation back to running, because one of the things that I've seen and I know that you're kind of really into is like strength training. And it's funny because I just, had a conversation about this with somebody who asked me what they should do to like get into trail races and get into trail running. And I'm like, for me, like, it's not putting down 1,000,000 miles and stuff. The thing that keeps my body going and all that is strength work. So tell me about like what strength training, what it means to you, how you got into it, like the importance of it.
100%. I mean, honestly, I got into strength training before I even got into running. I was just hitting the gym, lifting weights, but I feel like running came into my life at the right time because I was still dealing with a lot of that depression. Like I knew when I was weightlifting and strength training, I was working on myself, but something about running, it does something good for your mental, and you're just out there. So I didn't feel free or alleviated from all those problems until I started running. But yeah, with my training, I do a hybrid block. So I do equal amount of lifting and equal amount of running. So that's kind of the training block that I stick to. Strength training is very, very important. So I feel like without a doubt, like it's a given, I'm always going to be either in the gym in the first thing in the morning or, late at night. But I can't go a day without going to the gym or getting a run in. And it's just very important, like you were saying, for strength building, for endurance, for all of that. I just saw that you did a race up in Tahoe, and actually I've been training. I'm doing Broken Arrow this coming weekend, which is also in Tahoe. Yeah. And it's been kind of crazy because I've been taking my training. Usually I do a lot of road running, but now I've been, going on a lot of trail runs and hikes and stuff like that. So I'm like, this is crazy because all the weightlifting, all the leg days, this is where it comes into play, and it's nuts. But yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. I feel like I would encourage anyone out there that doesn't already weightlift to start weightlifting for sure. It'll help you 100%.
Dude, I love that you just said that, because I mean, strength training is the backbone of like the trail running I do. And for a race like Broken Arrow, like which I did the Broken Arrow triple last year, fun race, like it is gonna help you out so much on those climbs. Like when I was out there with Jason during this race, and he was pacing me, we were doing some really punchy climbs, and that was like, that's the squats, that's the deadlifts, that's the lunges, that's the work in the gym coming into play right there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Joe? I've seen like you've been like really posting a lot more about your strength routine and stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I totally agree with both of you. I think it's the foundation of all of my running. Like kind of like what Danny said. I may not necessarily put these huge training blocks together of mileage, but I always, even if I don't get my run in or the mileage I want, I always get my strength training in. It's just key. Like, I'm not getting any younger, and I think that's the only reason why I can continue to up my mileage and take on bigger goals without, being completely wrecked or burned out afterwards. So totally agree.
Do you do you guys have any so like, since we're talking about strength training and we're all runners and focused on running here, do you have any workouts starting with Danny, like that you'd recommend to somebody who's just getting into strength training to improve their running? And let's say they have like 10-15 minutes to do a routine. What do you think they should start? What would you recommend they start with?
And tied into running, I would definitely suggest a couple of leg workouts, calf raises. I don't know. That's kind of a tricky one, but definitely a lot of leg workouts. Yeah, that's a tough one. I do a lot of like deadlifting, but just like full body workouts are good ones too. Something that's gonna like include your core, your legs, your upper body. So like deadlifting. Yeah, I feel like calves are very important to work out for sure.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, certainly.
oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna add that I calves is really important. Like I step ups on chairs and stuff, I think was a huge part of adding to my routine that helped me handle a lot of like punchy climbs during races. And just like a lot of like single-legged unilateral stuff is so important for running because it's a single-legged sport. And just having a strong core, I think just being better athletes and not just better runners, I think is important when looking at that. But dude, I love deadlifts. I have to agree with that. Having a strong deadlift makes you a stronger runner. But yeah.
Yeah, I was going to agree. I think you guys both covered exactly what I was going to say. It's a lot of one leg stuff and unilateral stuff. I have nothing different to say other than I've really been digging, throwing in like some really intense kettlebell hit training lately. That's been my new thing, but that's more like just kind of getting my heart rate up and then kind of letting it stabilize. But you guys covered all the bases, like tons of leg stuff, tons of one leg stuff. So yeah, hit the nail on the head for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think that strength training is a big one. And I think that, I mean, the other thing I would emphasize is mobility as well. Mobility is a huge one too.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so I want to ask you, kind of going back to Sonoma Valley Runners, I wanted to sort of ask you, like, what is a day-to-day, what does like a meetup look like for you? Do you guys just do, like you mentioned that you guys do activities outside of running, which is cool because it's really created that like elaborate sense of community, like the painting classes and all of that. In the realm of endurance sports, like besides running, are there any other activities that like do you get together and do like strength training and hiking and other activities? What kind of stuff does Sonoma Valley Runners do together?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, the connection kind of got lost a little bit. You were
Oh,
asking
you're
what
good,
else do
dude.
we do outside of the running community? Do we do any like strength training or conditioning? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, yeah. Like, what other activities do you guys do together outside of just like the running and all that?
Yeah, for sure. We're kind of just diving into collaborating with other, fitness enthusiasts. So we've done collaborations with the boxing club. So we've taken boxing classes. We are recently doing a collaboration with the yoga studio. But it's not just like your typical stretching yoga. They include weights, so it's like the weight bearing yoga classes, which is pretty sweet. And those are always like a huge help after a run. And what a morning would look like here at Sonoma Valley Runners is we typically all gather. I give my runners about a 15 to 20-minute gap for everyone to show up, and then once everyone's shown up, we start our stretches, but we also get in a circle and we go around kind of saying our names and we set the intention for the run or the day. And, just kind of going around, hey, my name's Danny. I'm out here to meet new people. I'm here to move my body and have a good time, like something simple. But I really like it's just a way for everyone to connect with one another, for you to know your partner, whoever's beside you, their name, and then just kind of like make new friends to run with. But yeah, like what I'm trying to focus on is kind of just start connecting with other fitness enthusiasts so that we can start working out. I definitely want to do a program. We have several captains. One of our captains, her name is Thalia. And so what she does as a dynamic warm up is she'll actually set up a whole like a hit, right? So she'll do like a little hit workout, and that really gets everyone's like heart rates up. Everyone's like moving and grooving, feeling good. And I know they've loved that. So I get just hearing that positive feedback, it makes me feel like, okay, I want to encourage her to continue to do that, So yeah, everyone has their own little like twist to things. I'm kind of more on the, like, I guess you would say boring side. Like, I just do dynamic stretches and then we're off running. So, but I love how she adds her little twist whenever she's leading the group. So it's pretty cool. When we do track days, we do a lot of conditioning on those days. Sometimes we do, suicides, anything that's going to really get your heart rate going up, because we're going to do a crazy workout, on those days. So, but yeah, we've been implementing elevation. Right now they're basically hill repeats, but we call them elevation intervals. And we just up and down this hill, and here in Sonoma, and we do it up to 6 times, and 6 times totals up to 3 miles. But at the end of those miles, we're completely done. We're so tired. Yeah. So I just try to switch up the workouts, and keep it fun. But yeah, that's about it, really.
That sounds so cool. Question, Danny. Are the other members also sober runners, or is it just like a mixed bag of different people, different journeys, or is it like a sober running community also?
It's kind of a mixed bag. Yeah, everyone's got their own little journey. It's beautiful to hear their stories though, because I feel like we've all overcome something that was very, strong in our life, that maybe you're still facing those problems and this is what's helping you. But yeah, everyone has their own story. It would be awesome to be a sober run club. I think that would be super neat, and I have heard of that before. But no, it's open to the community. As long as you're out here and you're moving your body, that's what's really important. Sonoma is such a small town. I wanted to be able to offer something to my community. So, I mean, one of the neatest things that we have at our run club is we have a runner. Her name's Suzanne. She comes out and runs with us. She's 73 years old and she's still out there moving her body. Yeah, she's out there moving her body, completes every run that we go on, whether that's out on the road or a trail run, she's out there. And to me, that's just amazing to watch. But not only that, we have a very large Hispanic population here in Sonoma. So just connecting with my Latinos out there, right? And just like offering this warm space for everyone to come together and make running all inclusive, like make it for everyone. Because, I mean, me growing up in a Hispanic household, I felt like you weren't really exposed to all of these sports, right? Or even like running as a whole. So it was pretty black and white. So just opening up those doors for my Latino people out there in my community. But yeah, it's just bringing people together.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
that's exactly what it's all about. And I like that you brought up the uh, just like the Latino community and growing up in a Hispanic household, because Jason and I had similar experiences. I'm South Asian, and it's not a really big thing in our community. And Jason's Puerto Rican, not a big thing in his community either. Like, we both had people tell us like we don't do that, and it really makes me happy to see people on the ground like creating that inclusion. And I have to ask, like, there's always like sort of a process behind it too, right? Like, there are a lot of, just to be real, there are a lot of clubs out there that say we're all inclusive, and then you walk in there and everybody's running a 7-minute mile. And so I want to ask you, like, what are some of the things that you guys are trying to do at Sonoma Valley Runners to make your club like all inclusive, especially for like the Latino community?
Yeah. My main focus at every run, even if I have to be the sweeper and I'm at the end of the group, like, I always try to focus on no runners left behind. And even if I see someone's falling behind, I always try to run at their pace. Like, I'll gently ask if it's okay that I run next to them, so that I can kind of be that extra push that they need when they're coming out. But just because I don't want people to feel like, they're being left behind. We do have some fast runners, but like, that's not our main focus. When we go on group runs, specifically on Sundays, it's easy pace. We're all just out there have a good time. track workouts, those are kind of where we're a bit speedier. But even then, we kind of all divide ourselves into our pace groups. So that your group is running at your certain, specific pace. But yeah, no, I feel like the all-inclusivity here at Sonoma Valley Runners is really just focusing, for me specifically, is focusing on those people that I feel like it's there's a bigger meaning behind it, right? Like for some people, it's just getting out there and moving your body. For some people, it's to lose weight, to make friends. And so like you just building and forming those connections with them and knowing what they're there for and what they seek to get out of Sonoma Valley Runners and making that connection, right? Like really listening to what their needs are. I feel like it's what really matters. Yeah, like I feel like there's this the running community and the run clubs, all that is kind of blowing up. But I feel like, unfortunately, it kind of washes the hard work that, running communities like yours and mine, we're working so hard to build a community. But like all these new run clubs are here to just, I don't know, create a new dating pool and it makes it challenging for people that are just trying to bring people together. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I guess my main focus would be building community and then just listening to my runners. What are their needs? What do they want from us? We've had runners that sometimes they don't want to go out and train as a group, but we have a group chat and they could specifically ask just, hey, like I'm going out for, a couple miles or, I have a long run on my schedule, who's in. And like, I feel like just even opening up that door for them to like be open enough to ask who's in. I feel like it's kind of like their way of like being heard, like I want them to have that space to be in the spotlight. Another thing with Sonoma Valley Runners too is, though I'm the founder, I feel like the thing that I push the strong is that we're kind of a faceless Instagram, sort of say, because I'm not Sonoma Valley Runners. They are Sonoma Valley Runners. It's not me. It's not Danny. It's them. It's all of my group. So to me, that's kind of like what we stand. It's the people. So yeah.
Man, I love that so much. I mean, it all comes down to the community and the people, and yeah, it's really cool to hear what you're doing with the Sonoma Valley Runners, and you're just fostering this sense of like, I think it's important to like have that like open door, and especially when like all three of us, as people who have been on the sobriety journey, it definitely does like close some doors on you. So being that person who leaves the door wide open and says, or leaves the seat empty on the school bus and says like, hey, if you need a friend, you can sit right next to me. I think that's
Mhm.
really cool. I mean, would you agree with that, Joe?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I think this has come up a bunch of times. Like, sometimes all someone needs is just a little grace, and like just one gesture like that will really turn someone's story completely around. I've heard that many times. Like, just one little gesture is what all it took for them to, make that leap. So, and you providing that is that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Danny, we really have appreciated having you on this show. Before we jump into the rapid fire food section, Joe does have one more question for you. But before we jump into that question, I want to ask you, where can people find you and where can people find Sonoma Valley Runners, and how can they get involved if they're in the Sonoma community?
Yeah. You can find Sonoma Valley Runners at Sonoma Valley Runners on Instagram. And then we also have a website. It's sonomavalleyrunners.com. I had to think about that for a second. sonomavalleyrunners.com. And then as for me, my tag on Instagram is Danny Contreras with an underscore at the end. And yeah, everyone and anyone is welcome to come and join us here at Sonoma Valley Runners. It's a free run club. We're here for the people. Building community is our main focus. And just giving back to Sonoma, the town itself. We have a lot of cool projects coming up. So if you're interested, come and join us. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, if I ever find my way out in California, I'm looking for a reason to come out to California again. So I'll definitely have to join you.
Jason and I aren't a good enough. Joe, come on.
Well, I hope I want like I need like
one
a
of the
multi.
things that I talked to.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I feel like most people just travel out here for, the wine, because we are in the heart of wine country. And that's one of the things that me and Jason were talking about actually is how do you survive as a run club when after every run that you go on, you're greeted with a beer or a glass of wine. And yeah, we're just trying to like break that stigma, like we're trying to like this is the new age of running, and being a sober runner is cool. So I don't know. It's a work in progress.
Always, right? One day at a time.
That's right.
So Danny, I have a question before I get into some of the rapid fire stuff. So let's say you're wanting to start a run club. What are some pointers you would give somebody to start a run club? How to be welcoming to everybody, how to be inclusive, and just how to foster that environment, kind of like what you're providing at Sonoma Valley.
I would just say, your connections. Get involved with the community. If there's already an established running community near you or around you, get those connections. Get involved with those people. One of my biggest things that we focus on here at Sonoma Valley Runners is collaborating, right? Like, to me, I don't believe in competition. If anything, it's friendly competition, right? Like we're there to uplift one another. So collaborating with other people. We have running stores that are maybe like 20 minutes of a drive. We make that drive as Sonoma Valley Runners to go run with those, running stores or other run clubs, just to build that like foundation within the whole community, because there's room for everyone, really, and just focus on fostering your own community, where you're at, wherever you're starting. For me, the biggest thing has been just being genuine about why I started and like my story, without the fear of being judged, because ultimately, like, we're all one big open book at the end of the day. If you want to learn from your experience, you're going to just put your story out there and just kind of learn as you go. So I would just say, yeah, just get yourself well connected with the running community, in your town or around your city, and kind of just start molding those friendships. Be a friendly runner. Start collaborating.
Yeah, I could not agree more about like Jason and I talk about that all the time about like collaborating and not competing, lifting each other up and reaching the stars together, and just like uh, you help someone out, then it helps you grow as an individual too. And I just think that it's good to see. It's always refreshing to see people who believe in collaboration and not competing, and supporting each other. But man, that's now we're gonna jump away from that into normally Jason has rapid fire food questions, but whenever Joe or I host these separately from him, I always go on GPT and I make up questions. So you're gonna be hearing these for the first time, but there's never any hard hitting journalism. So what we're gonna do is I've got 5 or 6 rapid fire food questions for you, and then Joe has a music question for you, because like endurance sports and music often go hand in hand. So are you ready for the rapid fire?
Yeah, let's hear it. I love ChatGPT, by the way. Didn't know we were on.
ChatGPT is the real unsung hero of Run Try Bike.
Okay.
Okay, so question number 1. Eating a 10-pound steak or drinking a gallon of melted ice cream? Oh, you have to answer these two.
Well, drinking a gallon of melted ice cream, that's just kind of a milkshake, right? That's not too bad.
It depends. Are you lactose intolerant like I am?
I actually am. But I always I can't say no to a milkshake. In-N-Out milkshakes are my favorite. I don't know if you guys have In-N-Out where you're at.
We have In-N-Out. I don't think Joe's gonna have to make that part of his trip out west to get like an In-N-Out burger, because it's different from the Whataburger and stuff. Like it's different, man.
Yeah, definitely. When I fly out there, I'm gonna come get you, Jason, and we're gonna go to In-N-Out. That's the plan. We'll go for a run and work off all that.
Okay,
I guess I have to
so
drink a gallon of milkshake if I had to answer that. But
that is true. I mean, you are plant-based, so okay. So here's the next one. Having all your beverages be pure maple syrup or pure hot sauce.
It was kind
I'll be
of
honest.
cutting in and out, but you said something about syrup and hot sauce, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the question again?
Oh shoot, I think it cut off there for a minute. All right. It was having all your beverages be pure maple syrup or pure hot sauce.
Oh. I'm gonna go with hot sauce.
I love hot sauce, dude. I'm a Tapatio guy.
Yeah.
We're a
Oh,
Tapatio
yeah.
family. Yeah, what about you, Joe?
I can use hot sauce like ketchup, so I could drink hot sauce, no problem. Tapatio or sriracha, that's my jam.
Oh, there we go. I love that. I love that we're all Tapatio people here. Or there's no, like, I always hear the Cholula versus Tapatio debate. So, all right. Next one is, it's funny because I'm reading some of these for the first time. Oh my God. Every meal is cooked by a reality TV show reject or a drunk college student. Funny question to ask when you're with three people who are sober, right? But yeah, here we are. This is not the guys.
I guess I'll go with the second one. The costume.
What about you, Joe?
I think drunk college student, because like, I mean, they probably come up with some pretty inventive stuff. I think I could imagine.
Let's see. All of your meals. Okay, here's a good one. Eat nothing but gas station cuisine for a month, or nothing but airplane food.
You kind of cut out a little bit. What was that?
Gas station food for a month or airplane cuisine for a month.
Oh, shoot. I guess I'll go with airplane cuisine. It depends where you're flying, right? I've heard some airplanes have gourmet food, so.
There we go. Yeah, I didn't present the flying conditions, so I'm going to leave that open for you too, Joe. What would you do?
I've survived pretty well on traveling with gas station cuisine and somehow still ate like relatively healthy for the most part. So probably gas station cuisine.
Love that. Okay, so last one for you. Last food question, then we're going to go to the music question. Meals cooked by, so all your meals arrive cold no matter what, or all your beverages arrive piping hot no matter what beverage it is?
For some reason, I can't hear you. It keeps cutting in and out. What was that one?
No, you're all good. Fireside chat technical issues are part of tradition. It is all your meals arrive cold for the rest of your life no matter what, or all the beverages that you order, no matter what they are, arrive piping hot. Which one would you choose?
Joe, I'm going to let you answer that one. I couldn't hear the question again.
I would go cold meals forever because I love cold water. I could imagine not having cold water.
Yeah, so the question basically, Danny, was cold meals forever or hot beverages forever? I think I lost him again. Danny, did we lose you?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you,
I
dude.
can finally hear you. Okay, I can finally hear you guys again.
I'm back. Joe, you want to ask the question? Oh, we lost him.
Oh. Dang it.
Oh, dang it. Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah, happens. Yeah, so actually, I think this is the first for the fireside chat. I think maybe he was so. I think he's taking a page from your book. He was so offended by the question, he just left. Oh, there you go. Danny, we were saying that you were so offended by the question, you took a page out of Joe's playbook and you just left.
I'm out.
Something like that.
So
What was the
basically,
question?
basically what I was asking was, and this is the last question for this, was cold meals forever or hot beverages forever, and no matter what it is, if you had to choose one.
Oh, shoot. I guess I'll go with hot beverages.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you'd miss out on. You'd have to have cold coffee for the rest of your life. You know.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
That's a
be a
tough
tough
one.
I mean,
one.
because
Really
cold meals, if it's cold meals, you'd be eating like cold pasta or like chicken salad every day.
Yeah, I guess
I
I
don't
could.
know.
Pasta,
Yeah.
cold
Cold pizza.
I'm definitely a cold pizza guy. For leftovers for sure. But yeah, I'm definitely a cold pizza guy. All right, so last question we got for you is I'm going to turn it over to Joe. He's got one for music, and we have to ask this to all the endurance athletes. So
yeah. So every time I'm out on a run or I'm in the gym, you see people with earbuds in. I always wonder what's in their earbuds. So earbud person or not, but what's on your playlist these days?
I like Spanish rock a lot, so I mean, I listen to a lot of Maná. Maybe you guys know who they are, or like Enanitos Verdes. But yeah, just some Spanish rock. Just listening to the tunes, and then just kind of like enjoying myself a little bit. I don't like getting too deep into the music, but yeah, I like a good Spanish rock band. How about yourself?
Yeah, a little bit of rock, heavy metal. It can kind of go anywhere. I think my Spotify is kind of confused. Like one day I'll have like weird bluegrass, like dark bluegrass music, all the way to like death metal to like classical music. It depends on what I'm on too. But so yeah, that's cool, man. I always like hearing what everybody's listening to. So excellent, man.
I think I'm a music hoarder. I take a little bit of everyone's music. My playlist could be anything from like Lord of the Rings to like just like classic hip hop to like new metal jams. Like Joe and I definitely share a love for new metal music. And just I guess it depends on the situation too. I know there's definitely a lot of good songs that are like good single track songs when you're just putting your head down and just running. And then there's good songs when you're just like trying to be in like a trance and you're just trying to like have like deep focus, and good books for that too. So, but yeah, I have to check those guys out. I might have to message you after this to get those guys on my playlist and hoard your music too, Danny.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. You can't go wrong with Spanish rock. I guess if I'm in my feels, I listen to some country. People don't really think or expect me to listen to country, but I like some good country. And definitely like rap and hip hop, but that's kind of a given. So
have you listened to NF yet? Man, I'm turning me on to NF. Pure bangers.
Oh yeah, I like NF for sure. 100%. He's good.
Beautiful.
Dude.
Yeah.
NF is
he's got some deep shit. Yeah, like it's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
That is like super awesome to hear. And also I think the first time I've heard that like you're into NF now, Joe. I'm always glad to turn more people into NF fans.
Yeah, thank you so much. I owe that to you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was definitely playing Clouds by NF when I was out there doing the race this weekend more than once. So, and the search.
Cool. There you go. I'll probably play the Clouds now too.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you gotta find the song, maybe even Hope. You gotta find the songs that you can jam with at Broken Arrow on those punchy climbs, man. And man,
Yeah.
we can't wait to hear how that race goes, and we'll be cheering you on in the Run Tri Bike community. And yeah, dude, this is a lot of fun, and appreciate having you on the show, Danny.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be on the show again in the future.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure.
Thank you, Danny, so much, man. And same here. I'll be rooting for you at Broken Arrow. So look forward to hearing about more down the road.
Yeah, thank you guys for sure.
Yeah, have a good rest of your evening, guys. I think we're all, well, it's like late evening for you, Joe.
Yeah, I still got to get my run in too. That's after this.
I'm actually out. I'm out camping. I had to come into the car to do this, but it's cool. I mean, this is what I love to do. I'm gonna wake up early in the morning and go on a run. We're actually right next to the beach too, so it's pretty sweet.
Oh heck yeah! There you go. That'll be a lot of fun. I think it might be nap time for me after the race I just did. So, but yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and I hope you both have good runs.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, man. We'll chat soon. Take care.
Talk to you, Dan.